Chapter 1. The Meeting. Ayumi was a young geisha who lived in a small town in feudal Japan. She had always known that her life was not her own and that she was destined to entertain men for a living. Despite this, Ayumi was determined to make the most of her situation and become the best geisha she could be. Her beauty and intelligence quickly made her one of the most popular geishas in town. One day, a samurai named Hiroto arrived in town. He was a warrior who had recently been granted the rank of samurai, and he was looking for a place to rest and relax. When he saw Ayumi performing at a local tea house, he was immediately struck by her beauty and grace. Hiroto and Ayumi were from different worlds, but they could not help but be drawn to each other. They began to meet in secret, sharing stories and laughs as they fell deeper in love. They knew that their love was forbidden, but they could not help but hope that they could find a way to be together. Chapter 2. The Obstacle. As their love deepened, Hiroto and Ayumi began to realize the enormity of the obstacle that stood between them. In feudal Japan, the social classes were strictly divided, and it was unheard of for a samurai to be with a geisha. The samurais were expected to marry within their own class and produce heirs to carry on their family line. The geishas were seen as entertainment, not suitable for a samurai's wife. Despite knowing this, Hiroto and Ayumi could not bear to be apart. They continued to meet in secret, always watching their backs to make sure no one saw them together. But their love was discovered by the samurais, and they were both captured and punished. Chapter 3. The Punishment. The samurais punished Hiroto and Ayumi severely for their forbidden love. Hiroto was stripped of his rank and dishonored, while Ayumi was banished from the town and forced to work as a common prostitute. Their lives were ruined, and they were left with nothing but their memories of each other. Hiroto could not bear the shame of what had happened, and he decided to end his life. He wrote a letter to Ayumi, telling her how much he loved her and how sorry he was that their love had led to such a tragic end. Ayumi was heartbroken when she received the news of Hiroto's death, and she cried for days. Chapter 4. The Revenge. Ayumi could not let go of her love for Hiroto, and she decided to seek revenge on the samurais who had ruined their lives. She trained herself in the art of sword fighting, hoping to one day face the samurais who had punished Hiroto and herself. Years went by, and Ayumi became known as the deadliest swordswoman in all of Japan. She had become a legend, feared by many and respected by few. But her heart was still filled with anger and sadness, and she knew that her revenge was not yet complete. Chapter 5. The Final Battle. One day, Ayumi finally got her chance to face the samurais who had ruined her life. They were holding a celebration in honor of the emperor's visit, and Ayumi knew that this was the perfect opportunity to seek her revenge. She entered the party disguised as a geisha, hiding her face behind a mask. She waited patiently for the right moment to strike, watching as the samurais laughed and drank, completely unaware of the danger that was lurking in their midst. Finally, Ayumi drew her sword and attacked. The samurais fought back, but Ayumi was too skilled for them. She cut down one after another, her sword flashing in the air as she sought to avenge her lost love. But in the end, Ayumi was outnumbered. She fought bravely, but she was finally struck down by the samurais. As she lay dying on the ground, her thoughts were only of Hiroto, and how they could have been together if only they had been born in a different time. Chapter 6. The Tragic End. As Ayumi lay dying, she thought of Hiroto and how she had failed to avenge him. She had taken down many of the samurais, but in the end, they had won. Ayumi's final breath was filled with regret and sorrow, as she realized that she would never see Hiroto again. The samurai stood over Ayumi's body, looking down at her with cold eyes. They had won the battle, but they had lost something much greater. They had lost their honor, their dignity, and their humanity. Years went by, and the samurais who had killed Ayumi began to feel the weight of their actions. They realized that they had destroyed two lives in their pursuit of power and control. They had taken away the happiness of two people who had only wanted to be together. In the end, the samurais died one by one, their lives cut short by disease, war, and accidents. Their deaths were lonely and painful, and they knew that they had brought it upon themselves. They had paid the price for their actions, but it was too late to make amends. As for Hiroto and Ayumi, their love had been eternal, and it continued even after their deaths. They were reunited in the afterlife, free from the pain and suffering of the mortal world. They had found the happiness that had been denied to them in life, and they knew that their love would endure forever. The tragic story of Ayumi and Hiroto had come to an end, but their love would live on for eternity.